Okay, recording has started. What we're going to do today is bring you a little video on taking apart the old-fashioned laptops and replacing the power jack, the little guy you plug the power cord into, replacing those. Very common for us to have people call us up and say, hey, my laptop power jack's busted, or I can't turn on my laptop. I wiggle the plug and it starts working and everything's just happy, hunky-dory for a few minutes and then it goes right back to going off. That's a good sign that the power jack is failing or has failed, and in the process you'll be able to see that the system charges for a bit, but then it'll stop charging. Your battery won't hold a charge. You'll find that you're just unable to get the system to turn on at some points. Things like that. The system will just turn off on you. Those are all possible indicators of it. Good surefire way is having that power jack actually in there. Wiggle the cord a little bit. If your power light, the charging light, goes on and off, that's a sign that that's loose or failing or bad. If that doesn't necessarily do it, you also want to check your power cord itself, make sure it's not a break in that. So try actually wiggling the cord, making sure there's nothing wrong there. As far as the time of this, it takes probably about an hour to take apart a laptop all the way. Another hour to put it back together. And that was an interesting sound out of the Macintosh. And then should take you about 30 minutes to solder a new power jack on, and not allowing that the jack actually cooperates with you, and that it's not really horrible state. I'm kind of just giving this one a little tilt to see if there's anything loose in there, and there isn't. So let's start by taking apart the laptop. First thing you definitely want to do, remove the battery. Of course, disconnect the power cord, no duh, but battery needs to be removed from the system. Otherwise, you risk zapping it, and two, you're not going to get very far because usually there's some kind of screws, like in this one, that are below the battery case that you got to remove. No surprise. So, as far as tools, a couple of small screwdrivers, small tip, and this one's kind of a bigger one. I just was too lazy to pull out a normal one. Finer tip screwdriver, Phillips, flatheads. Tool you probably don't have and should have, a dental pick. There's always a little zero insertion force connector, and you can never seem to get your fingers around those stupid things to pull them up. Get one of these in there, just kind of pulls it up, and sometimes a little connector, you gotta kind of just wiggle in there a little bit and sometimes pull it or push it a little. These are great for that. The famous Apple Black Stick. If you're not an Apple technician or certified technician, Apple service provider, might be a little tricky for you to get one of these, but if you look around eBay, you'll probably find them for like $2 or $3 each. They're definitely worth it. They're made of nylon. They're basically a plastic. That way you go in, you start prying up these plastic pieces. This is what it's really used for. So getting in there, prying up plastic pieces to plastic snaps. And that way this thing has a little bit more give than metal. You're not actually going to be cutting into the metal. You scratch this across plastic, it's not going to cut the plastic. This thing will wear down a little bit over time, and you might have to replace it, but I mean, you're going to be quite a while before you have to do that. They do have the very fine tip on these, if you're ever wondering. Those are for more of a special Mac type of use. reapplying some seals, stuff like that. Probably never going to need it on a PC. The thing you're going to need is the flat edge. And of course, forceps, or very fine tip needle nose pliers. I like the forceps better because they got the bent tip there. They're really thin. They're slender. I find them easier to navigate. You don't have to worry about losing them. You just get in there and you just you can work it out easier than I think with pliers. So I like the forceps or needle nose pliers, but needle nose pliers can work as well. So now you know the tools. Now you got the laptop battery out. Disconnected from power. Start by taking any of these panels off on the bottom of your laptop. Now keep in mind, each laptop is different. Each laptop has its own different set of panels. Not all these panels will be present on some laptops. Each laptop comes apart differently. Keep that in mind. Generally, you got covers for the RAM. You got it covered for the hard drive. Usually cover for things like the wireless cards. You know, your 802.11. Things like that. And here we go for our first annoyance. Apparently, this panel's not like the other one. Where it had the captive screws, this one apparently has the type of screws that you have to take out all the way. But they keep falling back down. So just take a screwdriver, put it along the ridge of the screw and just kind of push up on it at the same time you're unscrewing it, and you'll get it to come out. Now, very important is to keep track of all of your screws. If you're lucky, your laptop will have, you know, something like 3-4 different sizes of screws. If you're lucky. I've seen in one laptop literally 10 different sizes of screws. I'm not going to name the brand machines, but they are not fun to deal with. When you're kind of sometimes in a little bit of a hurry, you kind of misplace some screws like that. Now, very easily tick you off. If you're going through and somebody interrupts you, so you're taking it apart, somebody calls you up or starts talking to you, and you're like, where did that screw go? Yeah. Don't forget things like that. So try and keep your screws together. Panels, I usually take the screws out. I set them on the panel piece, so I know, hey, it goes with that panel. I kind of cheat a little bit with the screws on the bottom of the systems. I usually take those out and literally lay them out in the same order they are on here, so I can just go, okay, I can just here, I can just here, I can just there. I don't have to worry about that, but you got to make sure nobody shakes your desk, kicks your desk, hits it, other little annoying things like that.